Greetings from the mountains of Colombia. As you can see, we're here in the Andes, about an hour from Bogota. And my name is J Weiskopf. The name of the series is Ayahuasca Express. Although we're going to deal with a lot of other subjects, that is the core of this series. So the first time was nothing much. And I was very stupid and vain about it. I thought, yeah, I'm a tough guy, I can deal with it. And then on the day before the next, or the next after that, I can't remember precisely, session, I went with the Titus son, one of his sons. He had 5 or 6 sons, all very skilled woodsmen, all very skilled in the jungle. And we went for a stroll beyond this clearing into the really wild part, about an hour or so. And the guy was amazing because the trails are very faint. I mean, he knew how to follow his way through the jungle and come back. And he was a botanist, as most of them empirical botanists. He used to point out the plants. Sometimes he'd say, hey, look at that monkey up there. It was fabulous. But once I returned, I didn't think anything of it. It was an adventure. That's what I was there for, to see the jungle, to experience it. And that night, we did it. It was a noisy night. There were some people who were, had a bad trip and they were cursing and it ruined my trip. But in one moment, I had a vision of the jungle based, it was kind of based on a real experience, but it was transmuted into a surrealistic jungle full of color, full of spectacle. It was vibrating. It was enthralling. It was like the ultimate vision of the essence of nature. It didn't last very long. These exaltations, as I've learned since, in my case, are very brief. But I was hooked. I was hooked. And the ironic thing is I have never really recaptured it to that intensity. I've had a lot of illuminations, a lot of leads about what to do with my life, a lot of encounters with different spirits, good and bad, but nothing of that intensity. So we'll call it beginner's luck. So meanwhile, I was living in Bogota. I had 2 kids to look after. I was working as an English teacher, later as a journalist. It was a very hectic life. I didn't have that much money, so I could only return occasionally. And, I'd be there for a month, maybe 5 weeks. And in all, I think I returned about 5 or 6 times. And I obtained more of an idea of what ayahuasca was about. But I began to see the dark side. I had some awful, awful, terrifying trips where I literally thought I was going to go mad or die. When your stomach is in a turmoil, your mind is full of frightening specters, monsters are assailing you. It's multisensorial. It's unlike anything else I've ever experienced. And every ayahuasquero will tell a beginner it is impossible to describe. And speaking as someone who's written 2 books about it, you can only come to have an idea when you've actually taken the medicine. Now this is a bit disgusting, but bear with me. I remember times when I was down on my knees, vomiting on one side and defecating on the other. And the members of the community laughing at me, the title laughing at me, and I was completely out of it. But over the years I've spoken to a lot of other shamans and people who know about ayahuasca, and that is part of the experience, that is part of your training. A lot of the shamans themselves have experienced that or equivalent terrors. That is something you have to respect the ayahuasca. It makes you respect it, or the gods, the spirits that are behind it. That is part of its teaching. And I mean, I had some very sublime moments in the morning. Always in the morning I felt very well because I purged, I'd go to vomit and go to the toilet, I don't know how many times, I'd be completely clean inside. And the dawn comes, it's like the dawn of a new world. Everything's very vivid, all the leaves, all the colors, the river, and this still happens. And I'm not exaggerating. You kind of talk to the plants. I mean, you see their personalities. You kind of enter into their minds. It only lasts for a few hours, but as I said, I was hooked, and even when the experiences were horrible and traumatic, I always loved it. I don't know why. I think it's different temperaments. A lot of people try ayahuasca a few times, they like it, but it doesn't really resonate with them. They don't think it's that important, that transcendental, that useful to their lives. In my case, no, I had to continue.